welcome to this very special episode of India Revival Mission Dialogues. And my very special guest is Mr. Rajnish Kumar, Chairman and Managing Director of State Bank of India. Mr. Rajnish Kumar, we are talking about the India Revival Mission at a time when we are just coming out of the backlash of COVID-19, which has virtually brought businesses to their knees. The State Bank of India has been leading India in its revival mission of businesses as well as at the grassroots level, providing subsidies and direct benefit transfers to the smallest of smallest, to the poor of poor accounts. I want to ask you, Mr. Rajnish Kumar, how has your bank been able to look after these two very different segments, the grassroots level as well as focusing on business revival?
So, Navika, State Bank of India, it is a banker to every Indian. And we cater to the entire segments of the society, whether they are at the bottom of the ladder or they are at the upper end or the uppermost end of the ladder. And bank has created capabilities to deal with volumes. And the customer base of the bank itself is about 44 crore. And out of that, about 14 crore are what we call PM Jan Dhan account. And we use multiple channels, and the transactions which happen outside the branch, bank has created capability by having a vast network of ATMs, a vast network of BC customer service point, banking correspondent customer service point. For all the DBT, the transfer of money in 3 installments under PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, 500 rupees was transferred for 3 months. And here, the 62,000 customer service points of the State Bank of India, they came very handy, and the money was distributed in a very orderly manner. At the same time, corporate banking is something which bank has been doing almost forever. And for any large credit, for any project finance, State Bank of India is the first port of call for any corporate. And it is not about only the lending capability. The creation of digital lending capability and handling the digital transactions. Bank has undergone a complete transformation. And because of these enablers, we have been able to meet the needs of the society, and which is help the wealth creators and help the poorest of the poor and be an active participant as far as the government's social banking programs are concerned.
So, Mr. Rajnish Kumar, I want to ask you, the government in the aftermath of COVID-19 had come out with a stimulus package. There were different segments of business, whether it was large industries, whether it was MSMEs, whether it was the small scale industries. There was a stimulus package of 20 lakh crore that had been announced, and banks needed to play a very important role in that. Today, almost a couple of months after that stimulus package was announced, I want to ask you, what is the demand for credit? Because that is the only way we will know whether the economy is getting back onto track after the blip that came with the production stopping, with the economy coming back to a standstill during the pandemic months and the complete lockdown months. How do you see the demand for credit in MSMEs and in large-scale industries?
So it is some sort of a U-curve. May was the lowest. And in fact, if you look at our presentation, which has been loaded on the bank's website, we have given the shape of the curve for the retail credit and SME. And it is obviously a U-curve. And I hope that it mirrors the revival in the economy. We know that April, May were practically washout months because of the complete lockdown, but June onwards, the economic, the capacity or the utilization or the production, that has come back to 70 to 80%. And the credit growth also, the YOY growth as well as YTD growth, we are seeing that June onwards, there has been a fairly good demand. And just to give you an idea that we are at one point of time, the YOY credit growth, YOY means year on year corresponding period of the previous year, the growth is now 7% plus, whereas in April, May, it had come down to 5%. So that we are seeing credit uptick, and as the investment economy in the economy or the investment activity picks up, and as well the capacity utilization goes up, I have a view that the demand for credit will further go up, and there is ample liquidity in the system, and availability of credit would not be an issue.
Mr. Rajnish Kumar, do you think the medium scale industries are as euphoric about credit at this moment? Because many people feel that the moratorium that has been given hasn't really helped them, because moratorium means the payment days just gets shifted. It's not as if you've got any subsidy to tide over the months in which there was no production and no work, no delivery of business that had taken place. And that seems to be the single biggest factor for small and medium enterprises, which expected probably some sort of hand-holding in terms of a subsidy or a write-off rather than just a moratorium. Do you think that can be an issue which can keep the growth and demand for growth for credit suppressed for a while till the medium-scale enterprises really get over this hump?
So the purpose of the moratorium, of course, was to help out the people in this situation where there is a disruption either to the salary or the salaried income, or impact on the income of the self-employed professionals or the SMEs, where also their cash flows have been disrupted. And this is, in my view, a fairly good way of helping out the businesses or the individuals. Giving outright subsidy or bearing part of the losses by the government, it is, in my view, very difficult. It cannot be given across the board. And no country, even the developed countries where their resources are much more than India is, even they cannot support any sort of subsidy or outright help. The outright help has been given to those people who needed it most. And that is where PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, the distribution of money to the poor farmers or to the poor households, support by way of the supply of food grains. So from the government's perspective, or whatever perspective you look at it, if there is an X amount of money available, and if the distribution has to be decided, obviously it will go first to the people who need it most. Not to say that business does not need help, but at least the liquidity support, where at least their obligations to the bank, they have been back-ended, and with the hope that the businesses will come back and may be able to recover. Some of the losses obviously will have to be borne by the entrepreneurs and businesses themselves. Same is the case that if somebody unfortunately loses his job, so that is also, people have to dip in their savings to survive. And this is a situation which is unfortunate, which was totally unanticipated, but not only for our country. Globally, this is the problem. And globally, as I said, there is a limitation how much government can put or bear the losses. But whatever way the government or for that matter, Reserve Bank of India or the banking system, within their remit and within the availability of resources, whatever help can be given, that is being given.
So, Mr. Rajnish Kumar, 73 years after we've completed our independence, there is a call that has been made by the Prime Minister on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, this is not the first time. It's seen several other forms in the past, from Swadeshi onwards during independence. I want to ask you, how important is Atmanirbhar Bharat and the philosophy behind it in terms of reviving the economy, making India more self-reliant, and making a good business proposition in terms of our GDP growth and our self-sufficiency in times to come?
It is a fact that the productivity of Indian economy as compared to many other countries is low. And what has happened in India, that the transition from agriculture economy has not taken the traditional route, where agriculture, normally first the manufacturing gets developed and then services. In India, what has happened, that straight away from agriculture, we have gone to services. Today, 60% of GDP of India comes from services sector. Agriculture, the contribution is around 13 or 14%, whereas the number of people dependent on agriculture is more than 50%. So this is an issue. And that is where it is required that the share of the manufacturing industry in the GDP, that needs to be pushed up. Agricultural productivity needs an improvement. And for improving that, many initiatives of the government, like formation of FPOs, then the recent reforms around the liberalization for the agriculture marketing. So these are some of the steps which, and then agricultural infrastructure fund to create the necessary infrastructure to handle the post-harvest, where we know that loss of wages happen. So directionally, the effort is that we improve the productivity of agriculture, we remove the wastages from the agricultural economy, and at the same time attract more investment in the manufacturing sector. So the first step was, and that happened even before COVID-19 happened, and that was rate cut as far as corporate taxes are concerned. There was a significant rate cut, and corporate tax rate now in India, it is compared to any other country. Plus opening of many sectors now. Defense has been one sector. Then we have opening up of mining sector. So there are many such steps which ultimately would lead to improving the productivity of the economy and self-reliance. To me, the call given by the Prime Minister is that we become a competitive economy where we can meet the needs of the country domestically, and as well as at the same time we are competitive to compete on the world stage and the changes which are happening in global value chain. So this time India should not miss that opportunity.
Mr. Rajnish Kumar, with the reverse migration of labor, do you think the traditional percentage of people dependent on labor versus those on industry in urban areas is now going to undergo a change? And will we have to look at this entire scenario once again through a different lens completely?
My reading of the situation is that it is a temporary phenomena. Economic reasons are strong enough that the labor will come back, and it has started coming back, and the industry or the states which need labor or dependent on migrant labor, they are also going out of the way to bring them back. And I'm told that states like Punjab, they are making a special effort to bring the labor back from the UP or Bihar or Jharkhand. Same is the story at many other places. Even some of the industrialists, they have told me that they have brought a plane load of labor. And from the labor's point of view also, the employment opportunity and the wage differential, it is huge. So maybe it was just at the spur of the moment, there was an emotional factor and people rushed back without even giving a thought to anything. And at that time, the environment and the conditions were such that it was a natural human reaction. But when the reality around the differential between the employment opportunities and the wage differential, that reality, when it sets in, then it is expectation that we would again see normalcy. And everybody's expectation is that this is monsoon and up to Diwali, there will be an issue, but post Diwali, the labor will come.
Mr. Rajnish Kumar, I also want to ask you the pressure on the banking system itself. It's been an issue of debate. It's been an issue of concern for the RBI as well. I want you to tell our viewers very frankly about what is going to be the situation of the balance sheet of banks like yours, the State Bank of India, because the health of the financial backbone of the country will depend on the health of the biggest bank, which is the State Bank of India. The schemes that the government has announced, whether it is collateral-free loans, whether it is a 10,000 crore fund for MSMEs, how much pressure is this going to put on the balance sheet of the State Bank of India? And where does this take the 1 lakh crore NPA levels that we already see, and of course the fact that in 2019 your bank had a 6,000 crore plus loss also that had been reported?
That loss is history. What do you also have to see that last 5 quarters consistently we have declared profit and every quarter is better than the previous quarter. And if I can recall my statement when I was on a call with the media and the analyst after our June results, I said that as of now, we are asymptomatic as far as COVID-19 is concerned, and we have built in the necessary immunity to deal with the COVID-19 situation. And I stand by that remark even today. The financial system cannot remain unimpacted if there is an issue in real economy. That is the reality, what we call twin balance sheet problem. If our borrowers have a problem, part of the problem gets passed on to the banks. Now, as far as if you're asking me, State Bank, we have the necessary capability, both in terms of what is our currently earnings level. Second is what are our current capital level. Third is on the horizon whether we are seeing very high level of potential NPA. And we are reviewing in the bank almost on a regular basis that in what direction the NPA situation is likely to. I can say with confidence that the situation is pretty much under control. The fresh slippages would not be so much that bank is not capable of handling that, or bank is again moving to a situation where it may incur losses. And why I say so, that when we incurred losses in March 19, in March 18, bank had to, because of the AQR, because of the failed restructuring, 1 lakh crore was fresh slippages in March 18. So obviously, when you have to provide for that kind of NPA, the losses were inevitable. Next year, our NPA fresh slippages were just 32,000 crore. And the year gone by, March 20, about 52,000 crore. So if we have been able to deal with the situation where in 1 year the NPA slippage was 1 lakh crore and the earnings were almost 35% lower than what we earn today, we are in a much, much better position to bear anything which may come. So, State Bank of India, you be assured that we are strong enough to deal with this situation. The issue, if at all it comes, will be for weaker banks and not for State Bank.
Well, Mr. Rajnish Kumar, thank you very much. We are looking at a revival of the economy. Yes, the COVID-19 has got the spirits a little low, a little watchful, a little pensive, but we do hope in the next month or so, we will be able to get over this bump and look forward to more optimism. And it is at that stage we will connect with you again to get the first-hand report on whether the economy is really turned around or not. At the moment, revival is the mantra that we are talking about. And thank you very much for joining me here on the India Revival Mission.